Hey everybody, welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to try something a little bit different in that I'm not going to do a full-on step-by-step instructional voiceover, but rather I'm just going to kind of narrate over the top of this video. Like I said, just to try something a little bit different, switch it up and see if you guys like it. And if you do like it, or if you don't like it, it'd be awesome if you could let me know down in the comment section down below. So right here I'm just kind of cutting some wood to size and then squaring up the edges so that I can glue it into a full panel. This panel is going to be used for the flag. So you can buy some of these panels from the local big box store already glued together and ready to go. The ones that I checked out at my local big box store just seemed to be a little bit too warped for my liking. Too far gone that I couldn't flatten them and still be happy with the end product, so I decided to just pick up, I believe this is aspen wood, and make my own panel. So like I said, right here I'm just cutting up the pieces and gluing them together into a panel, and I let that glue set overnight, and now I'm just taking it out of the clamps right here. So this panel is pretty good, it's pretty flat, but I'm just going to make it 100% flat and take it over to my Infinity CNC machine, and I put a 1-inch flattening bit in there, and then I can use the joystick to jog it back and forth and flatten it. So I started by putting what will be the bottom side up, and then I can shim it on the corners until there's no more rocking in the panel, and then flatten the bottom side, and then once I had the bottom side flattened, then I could flip it over and reference the bottom and then flatten the top using the same method back and forth. That's one of the things I really like about this Infinity machine, is that I can use this game controller and basically jog it back and forth for flattening purposes like this, and I don't have to create a whole computer file to do the same thing. Once everything was flattened, I took it over and just trimmed off the edges just to get it somewhat straight. It's not 100% necessary because I will cut an outline in it later, but just to get it somewhat straight. And then I could put on a coat of black stain. Once the stain was dried, then I could find the center point of the panel and I could line up my bit on there. For this I'm using a 60-degree V bit on here, and if you can see on the screen, it's going to take a little bit over 2 hours for this initial carve. So this is going to carve the stars for the flag. It's going to also carve out his name and some other words, and then it's going to cut out the Marine Corps logo. And I probably could have cut down this time a lot more if I used like a roughing bit and then came back with this 60-degree V-carve bit, but I guess I'm in the mindset of switching out the bits as least amount of times as possible, if that makes any sense. Once that first carve was done, I could switch out the bit one time to a 1/8 inch down cut bit and then cut out the stripes for the flag. This was a lot quicker, and I actually had the vacuum turned on for this portion. I didn't want to run the vacuum for 2 hours straight, so yeah, I just cleaned up a little bit afterwards. So I cut out the stripes, and then like I said, it cut the outline out, and here I have my first look at the flag. I think it turned out pretty nicely. I'm pretty happy. Like I said, I could probably cut down the cut time a little bit if I wanted to, but it all worked out in the end. Then I could take this little tool and cut off the tabs, and here's the flag almost complete. So I'm going to take it over to my workbench, and then I can just kind of clean it up. This is a plastic brush to use on softer woods like this wood, and just kind of clean up a lot of those details. It gets in those little grooves and cleans up all the fuzzies and whatnot. Now, it can also clean up the stars pretty nicely, and this was about it as far as cleanup goes. The only other thing I had to do was take a couple chisels and clean up some of the fuzzies on the edges of the stripes. One other way to clean up some of the really fine details is to take an X-Acto knife like this and just kind of cut those off. To finish this, I'm going to use some polyacrylic. This isn't a clear satin finish, and just wipe on some coats. So here's a pro tip. I actually picked up the same finish but in a rattle can, and was just about to spray it on the flag, but decided to test it out on a scrap piece, and I'm very happy that I decided to try that because it came out like silly string. And it would have completely ruined this whole flag, and there wouldn't have been enough time to start over. So the pro tip is to always test out your finish on a scrap piece before going to the actual real piece that you're going to finish. And after the polyacrylic dried, this flag was all finished. I'm super happy with how this flag turned out. This was the largest carve I've ever done, both in physical size and duration of cut, so it was a pretty awesome challenge. If you guys want to cut something similar, I'll leave a link down below to the file that I downloaded from Etsy. And finally, I just want to say a huge thank you to all our servicemen and women, especially Ty. You protect our freedoms every single day, and we can't thank you enough for that, and we are super proud of you. Stay safe, man.